It looks like Bishop Zondo has departed the MK party and is now one of the founding guys at the new party with Floyd. And that looks like that's the direction that they're going. So I'll be very interested to hear what are their beliefs and all those type of things. But the first one that I was kind of like seeing already is the cap that Floyd is actually rocking there with that star and stuff. And I think that's I don't know if they go in the route of the communist movement. Because I know a lot of even, what's his name, Julius, he adopted to the very same ideas. He hasn't changed those ideas around communism and Marxism. They border between these lines and stuff. Now, another thing I want to say before I actually even talk about the verses, absolutely love people like Floyd. And I'll tell you one of the things that make me like Floyd. Like Floyd because Floyd, like if you look at the speeches that he has made, he makes like, for example, the one which he recently made when he was doing the briefing after he had to come out and talk about him being dismissed as the Secretary General, you can tell Floyd was very nervous, like very nervous. Like he speaks very carefully and he's able to deliver what he's there to say and speak very precise and well thought out, even though he's clearly nervous. But there's times when you see him speaking, especially with like in his parliament, in his what, or he's in the public, he's absolutely confident, dead on confident. So that's the thing that I like about him, is that you can read Floyd. You know, you can read Floyd is nervous. You can see it. I don't like people that you can't tell that. I just personally do not like. Maybe you guys share in the same traces and stuff like that. I just don't like people you can't tell that. But with Floyd, you can tell. Bro is nervous. What? But even while he's nervous, he still delivers to the full scale of what he's thinking. Marxism, to be precise, which is what is the ideas of the EFF. They're always talking about, no, this must be state owned. This must be state owned. That's very dangerous. The book of Acts, for example, the book of Acts, chapter number 5, verse number 4, concerning subject matters of private property. You'll remember the Bible says, while this particular verse is when you see people selling off what they had to have equally. Now, this was private decision. This was a personal decision. Everybody made the decision to do so. This is contrary to Marxism, where the state can take it. And so that's not a Christian idea. In the decision that you see in Acts chapter number 5, they clearly are the ones that are deciding that. But in Marxism, it abolishes the right of individuals owning stuff. Now, think about it. You work hard and break your back to build your business or to build an empire out of your labor. And someone is equally entitled to that. That's not right. And that does not sound right. There's even parables that show that. The parable of the talents. You see him give. You see him giving some one, some two, the other one 5. And so that's not Marxism. That's not capitalism. It is stewardship. In stewardship, we give you, according to the Bible, it says, as each one according to his abilities. So right there you can see it's not Marxism, it's not communism. It is capitalism. It is pro-capitalism. The Bible is pro-capitalism, and you can see it in that. Another one that actually just shows you this very idea, it's 2 Thessalonians chapter number 3, verse number 10. It says that if anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. That's 2 Thessalonians chapter number 3, verse number 10. So right there you can see the Bible does not advocate for Marxism. It's not the state that's taking care of you. Oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Yes, and we're not saying that the state doesn't build policies that allow people to build personal businesses and enrich themselves and be able to kind of like, no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about people, the state not helping people. No. Don't get that wrong. The state should help people. But to a point where the responsibility of the person to doing something is on the state, that's dangerous. And it doesn't work. Okay, you can see this in China. Unlike the Marxist view, where you, as a person, we all regard it as equal right. If I work, you see, like right now, it's cold out here. It's winter. There's some people that are hunkering down on their blankets. They will not get up and do anything. I remember years back, and I didn't have anything. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything happening in my life. I was completely dependent on my parents. Years back, 10 plus years back. And we used to stay in this yard, and there was a lady that was like that. She literally quit her job because it was winter. And right there, I had a perfect example of what this verse is telling you, which is it's not a good contribution. Proverbs chapter number 13, verse number 4. Okay? It's particularly within the subject matter of lead over prosperity, basically. Okay, it says the soul of the soul of a sluggard gets nothing, while the soul of a diligent is richly supplied. He's talking about a person who labors himself within industry, within a market space. So Proverbs is specifically on that, saying the one who does nothing doesn't get anything. And you've heard this statement, much to whom much is given, much is expected. But do not allow people to be completely. Now, these people build political parties around these things because it allows the lazy people. It allows people to be sluggish, as the verse is actually discouraging. And so that's a very concerning thing. Okay? That's a very, very concerning thing. Now, another verse that actually speaks on this particular thing, particularly containing redistribution and all that kind of what yes, rejection of roles of redistribution. Luke chapter number 12, verse number 13 to 12. Teach you in the same hour what you ought to say. So that time when he's saying you don't have to take to thought what you should think. He says, and one of the company said unto him, Master, speak to my brother that he might divide inheritance with me. Okay, so you can see what's going on here. Okay, there's entitlement, a little bit of entitlement here. And then it says, and he said unto him, man who made me a judge and a divider over you. So that's that verse right there. Who made me a divider? And then he says, and he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life does not consist on the abundance of things that he possesses. Okay? And then he says he spoke a parable concerning a rich man who brought with plenty and what. So right there you can see this idea of, I think I'm entitled to something. It says the value of a Christian's life or an individual's life is not consistent by what he should not be only considered on what he has, which is the same. It's very consistent there with what we were saying on the brother that a couple of days back, YouTube restricted that video. I don't want to mention that word. When we say these things, people don't believe. When you say that people, YouTube can just restrict your video out of nowhere. And so this verse here then shows you this idea as if, I'm owed something, and this mindset that I'm owed something and stuff like that. So this verse here brings this back along the side of, I'm owed. He felt like he was owed something. It's like you consider the value, your value, not because by that. Okay? And who made me judge over that? And so right there, he's talking about the aspect of a government being the one that dictates distribution. And so right there, it's contrary to Marxism. It's contrary to these communist ideas. It's just not how that works. And so that's a very interesting verse within that light. Another verse, Galatians chapter number 5, which is the last one right here. Galatians chapter number 5, verse number 5, speaks about personal responsibility within this tone. It says, for each will have to bear his own load. That's what the Bible teaches. You can see, like I said, why? Why do people build their politics, especially in Africa, like this? It's because there is a lot of needy people. There's a lot of people who are in need. And so as a result of that, when you build your politics around the needy so that they can vote for you, you want to sound like that. And it just doesn't account for personal responsibility and all that kind of stuff. Productivity, human productivity, and all that stuff. Okay? It does not account for any of those ideas. I remember when in my early parts of my Christian walk, I used to hear people talking about these things, and I would not understand. I was like, what's the big deal? People should be helped. But when you read the Bible, the more you read the Bible, the more you see. The Bible advocates for people to have they're responsible for themselves. Okay? It's not this sluggish, I'm going to be lazy, I'm just going to be there. No, it doesn't work like that. The Bible requires us to be productive. Okay? It's not someone out there baking their bag. It requires for us to be active within the market space. So, y'all tell me your thoughts down in the comment section. It's the Reality Show. We do daily Christian commentary videos. I thought that was quite an interesting one. Bishop Zondo, just from the last elections to now, he's already switched. He's already switched. And so I wonder if his decisions are based off of, if his decisions are based off of Bible's belief or position. I wonder. There's a lot of pastors that are really interested within these political spaces and stuff like that. But be very careful agreeing or siding with things that are not biblical. Yeah, tell me your thoughts down in the comment section. It's Ricky. I'll have a blessed day.